One. Welcome back to Cow Park Bros. Jason and I just finished off the Olympic observations part two. In this segment, we're going to be talking about live events and COVID, um, especially in light of the recent CDC updated guidance. Um, Jason, have you been to any live events at all since we've reopened the economy?
Admittedly, I've had several travel plans to go to live events, like mostly sports events, baseball stadiums in particular. Um, Due to unfortunate circumstances, mostly beyond my control, I haven't done any traveling at all, um, including a most recent trip that was nixed. Um, I have one in September that, fingers crossed, I'll be able to go to. Of course, I'm monitoring stuff like this when it comes to COVID to make sure in the place where I'm going that it's safe to do it. What are the facilities requirements going to be when it comes to protecting people? Is there going to be distancing, masking required? Things like that. Um, so we'll see what happens. I'm really hoping to go because this is a particular destination I've been looking forward to going for the last 3 or 4 years. So yeah, even those trips have been canceled because of unfortunate stuff, including last year because of COVID. So to answer your question, no, not yet, but fingers crossed soon, be it this year or next, I'll be able to go. What about you?
Trying to think what's the biggest event I've been to yet.
Don't think too
Mm,
hard.
yeah, I've been to. I mean, literally, listen. Biggest event I've been to is literally like an event at the gym, like a like a nutritional check-in, like group get together type deal. But that's maybe 20 people in a room. So yeah, I'm out here doing stuff, but it's still pretty limited. So a lot of people have been blowing up the internets this week since
No, go ahead
Lala
and say it. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead.
since Lollapalooza went down, or as some people would like to say, Covidpalooza. And I mean, because it happened in Chicago, basically it's going to get a bad rap. I know that, but a lot of people seem to take issue with that um, as the backdrop for CDC recommendations. Even Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, she's taken some heat for even allowing full capacity for the event in the first place. And of course, she bucked back saying, "Hey, we took all the proper precautions." Um, I mean, I do know some friends that opted to go. Um, I'm probably not ready for that type of scale of an event just yet. Um, Given some people feel it's maybe too much too soon, especially in light of the fact that we haven't even managed to vaccinate um, arguably some of the most vulnerable people in our population, which happens to be 12 kids 12 and under. So, Jason, I know you probably have some thoughts on, live events and what's your tolerance for this sort of thing?
So, folks, you kind of heard Terrence pause a little bit earlier before he mentioned Lollapalooza because we talked about this in our production meeting and uh, got a little heated on one side at least. Um, I'll say that was me. Um, as Terrence mentioned, well, he didn't say me specifically, but I will say that I do agree that it's a horrible look for Chicago. Um, Now I get live events are going to be back this year. I get it for the most part. Well, at least earlier in the year, there was still distancing involved. Not every event, for sports wise, wasn't full capacity. I know in Chicago at the baseball games for the Cubs and the White Sox, they started their full capacity, I believe, back in June, late June.
Yep.
So the city of Chicago is allowing these type of events at full capacity. Now you could say that both events are outside when it comes to the baseball games and Lollapalooza. There is a little bit of a difference. Um, the one difference is, really, the main one is the number of people we're talking about. Just one day of COVID is 100,000 people, whereas the White Sox, at least, in their first day of being allowed to have full capacity, they've only had 30 some thousand people at the most, somewhere around there, 30-ish thousand. So it's a lot of people, but that's a huge difference. And again, that Lollapalooza number I gave you, 100,000, that's just for one day. It's a 4-day event.
It's
So
a
100, yeah,
it's a
100,
4-day event, right?
yeah, exactly, 100,000 for each one of those 4 days. So 400,000 people, and presuming that most of that probably isn't the same 100,000 people. So um, I haven't looked fully into who was at this far as concert, other than a few names, of course, which don't really matter. But pretty much every picture I've seen on every single article about this year's Lollapalooza, I don't see almost anybody wearing masks at all. And that's either from wide shots, close up shots, everything, multiple different websites, including the Lollapalooza website. And you mentioned Lori Lightfoot that they've taken precautions. And as we talked about yesterday, those precautions were that people who were showing up at the event had to show proof of being fully vaccinated. Or if you weren't fully vaccinated, you had to show proof of having a negative COVID test in the last 72 hours prior to that day's event that you were trying to attend. So I don't know if you guys, when you hear that, can think of any possible problems with that. But the problem I see, even take away the vax people part of it, even those people that are unvaxxed that show the negative test, if I'm going to Thursday's event, I got my test on Monday showing I'm negative. Well, what happened the rest of the day Monday? What happened Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before the event? How we know I didn't get COVID between my negative test and me showing up to this event?
Short answer: we don't, Jason.
But the problem is, hang on. But that was the other part of that requirement for those unvaxxed. They're supposed to be wearing masks. And again, you can probably wear a mask going into the event because security's going to check that. But when you're in a mob of people like this, who's going to be making sure people have masks on? Nobody, which is why nobody had them on in these pictures. So yeah, I know what you're about to go into. You can bring it up if you want, but what I'm saying is all these precautions can happen, but it's not going to guarantee anything. There was a similar type of event in the Netherlands, which I know it's another country, but to the point, doesn't matter, that the event, it was a musical type of event that had about 20,000 people. And they took the exact same precautions that this Lollapalooza event took. The proof of vaccinations, the masking, all stuff like that. If you have an unvaxxed, negative test, so forth and so forth. Well, they were able to trace back that 1,000 people who were at that 20,000 person event contracted COVID from that event. So again, that was just 20,000 people, 400,000 total at this event here. So we don't have any information about it yet because it just happened, but it's quite possibly and very likely that several thousands of people contracted COVID either at this event or they caught it before coming to the event and spread around to people there. So, like we said before, getting vaxxed is not the magic pill. It's not the invincibility star from the Mario Brothers. You can still get it. You can still spread it, maybe at a lower likelihood and a lower rate, but you still can. So, and I mentioned before, I want to go to live events too, but I'm not going to be stupid about it. I remember back in April when the baseball season started, everybody was up in arms about the Texas Rangers because the state of Texas went full open capacity back in April. And it was April 5th, and they didn't even open up their vaccinations to people who are 16 and older until March 29th. So 5 days before, or whatever the number is. So clearly, whoever was at this game probably not. It was 38,000 people at that one baseball game. They weren't fully vaxxed. There's plenty of them that weren't fully vaxxed. Probably, I don't want to say none of them, but even though masking was required, still. And people were up in arms about that. So what was the difference then and now? Yeah, I know people are more vaxxed now than they were then, but we're still, despite being vaxxed, we're still, I was dealing with the pandemic in a very bad strain. So I think, again, this is a horrible look for the city of Chicago, and that's really the part that kind of makes me mad because I don't like anything that makes my city look bad. Whenever it's something that's city organized and unneeded. So, your thoughts, sir?
I'm glad you brought up the Rangers because, yeah, we've been already doing a little bit of mixed events where I'm sure we have a combination of uh, fans in attendance that may be vaccinated or may not be vaccinated. And this is going to be a moving target for us, man. That's the only way we're going to be able to um, really return to normal, if it were, is there is no way forward without coming up with a game plan that involves mitigation for both the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. So those are my thoughts on that.
And what would that look like in your ideal world, sir?
Much how it already looked at Lollapalooza. You know, best the best you can do is either get people to show, hey, I either A, have proof of vaccination, or B, willingness to get a COVID test.
See, and I think that's my biggest issue is that is because yeah,
That
go ahead
what specifically?
about the part that people can show a negative test within 72 hours. As I was stating earlier, yeah, the vax part, I think that's still kind of stupid with a crowd that big. Because the problem is, like I was saying before, I can get tested for COVID negative on Monday, but by Thursday, who knows what I've been doing and came in contact with between Monday and Thursday night.
Yes, but you at least had to have shown negative at some point. Did you not?
That doesn't matter.
Actually, it does matter. That is
I
literally the crux of the argument.
No, it doesn't because, like I just said, I can test positive on Monday, but when I show up to that event on Thursday, guess what? I can have it then.
Right.
And yeah, I'm wearing a mask when I walk in, but guess what? The whole concert, I don't have to wear a mask, as shown by everybody that was at that event, other
James,
than security.
there is no bulletproof vest way out of this. So I reject your presentation altogether because what I'm effectively saying is they have to do something. They did do something. And you're saying, well, since it's not perfect, it's not good enough, ignoring the fact that you don't have an alternative.
The alternative is if you had the vaccine, okay. Short of that, then you ain't coming in. That's the end of the conversation. Even that's
Right.
stupid. Yeah, but granted, if you want to have the event, great. But yeah, give even any open window for anybody that could still have COVID just because they tested positive 3 days ago
I mean,
or
I reject
negative 3 days ago. I mean,
that
so
you're
what?
proposing, well, we're going to only have events for the vaccinated. I mean, ignoring the
Or just
fact
don't
that
have the event at all.
those, well, again, that's not a viable way forward. So my point is, you don't like what they're doing, but you also don't have a viable alternative.
I just told you.
Ergo, this is what it's going to be.
I just told you an alternative. If you want to have the events truly safely, well, number one is not having it at all. But I know that's not going to happen based off not having it last year. I know, like we always talk about, this is the big money draw. They don't want to lose out on that Lollapalooza money 2 years in a row. So of course they're going to have the event. I get that. No problem with it. Chicago's broke, the state's broke. They need money. Fair enough. But that doesn't mean you have to throw a potential super spreader event. Right?
I'm not going to agree with that because you don't even know you're preemptively inferring that it's a super spreader event. And I'm saying let's at least see what the numbers bear out.
I agree. But I'm just telling you, if that's what it turns out to be, then it's going to make us look even more stupid. And yes, I agree. What
No,
people
you're
outside
already
don't matter.
with it. So you can't say, "Oh, let's have a wait and see attitude" when you didn't have a let's wait and see attitude about the event in the first place.
First of all, I don't have to have a wait and see because I already had the event. So yeah, me saying they shouldn't have it is stupid because they already had it.
No,
What I'm saying is, yeah, we can wait and see what the numbers are from it. But guess what? I'm not going to throw a Jason guarantee on this,
Well, that's a
but I would not be shocked if they had the similar correlated numbers to that other show I mentioned earlier. You know, so I mean, and also for being real here, Terrence, are you really going to sit here and tell me that this probably isn't a super spreader event? Yes, we don't know, so don't go there. I'm asking your opinion. Do you think this is going to turn out to be that way? Either yes or no.
no. It's not going to be a super spreader event because
Okay.
name
Okay.
event
I'm done.
have more mitigation processes than this one. To your point, yeah, it is about the money. Also, to that point, in order for it to be about the money and continue to make money, that means they can't fuck the money up, Jason.
How's it going to be messed up now? You already had the event. You got your money. You're good.
Right. But a lot of times the money is about making sure that you don't fuck up the next event, the next live event, the next Lollapalooza.
And okay, and how's this going to mess up any other event? They're going to run the event no matter what. I mean, unless what's his name, Pritzker, unless he comes down and says, "Hey, we're not having any more live events," which I know he's not saying that because again, money. So
You're trying to make it seem like it was about the money, ignoring the fact
because it was.
that we are social creatures that, listen, if those people, like that smirk off your face.
No.
Yeah. If those people showed proof and it was legitimate, or rather, they showed proof and it was illegitimate, I guess go them because they were willing to commit time, money, and resources to making sure they could go to said event. And just because you don't see the value in that, that's a you problem.
First of all, ain't no problem for nobody. Number one. So don't put it off on me like it's my problem. I have no problem because I'm not the stupid one that went there to the event in the first place.
You of
So
all people should understand the economic impact of ensuring that these events happen.
man, I just said that like 2 minutes ago. That I know that's why this event happened because it's a money grab. Chicago's not trying to lose out on that money, like Lollapalooza money, 2 years in a row. That part I get. So I get they're going to have the event because
Right.
of that.
Not only the economic impact to the city, but to you talk about Chicago like it's a fucking person. Like it's a city filled with not only politicians but also citizens who are reliant on that money. Uh these venues, these artists.
You're hammering home my point that it's about the money.
Yeah, but you're talking about as if the well, if you truly cared about safety, you wouldn't have an event at all. That's fucking absurd.
Actually, it's not absurd. But again,
Actually,
but
it is.
but again, I know they're going to have the event because of the money. So I'm taking that part off the table because I know they're going to have it because of that alone. And I get that. What I'm saying is, if you're going to have the event, really make sure it's truly safe. So
And I
leaving that window for people who aren't vaxxed. If the vax is this magic pill where I can start having people
so
at
Jason, since
events
you've opted not to be vaccinated, what is the magical window of time that you would deem acceptable for this to be a safe event?
for 400,000 people, probably not this month.
No. I'm talking about they said you had to show proof of a negative COVID test. Individual A had to show proof of a negative COVID test within X amount of hours in order to be admitted in to the venue. What is the acceptable amount of time for an individual, according to you?
First of all, I'm not a scientist. Number one, but I,
Well,
but I, but be honest, but if you're asking my opinion, I'd say there is none.
so you don't even have a fucking
Short of you testing me right before I walk into the venue, short of that, that's it.
this is very much like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where he's saying uh, to Cameron, it's like you don't even have a piece of shit. You got to admire my piece of shit. You don't even have your own ideas on this. You just don't like this one.
Bro, I really just answered every question you had of this. What are you talking about?
No, what I'm saying is, you're saying there's no safe way to do this.
Because there's no.
Literally, what you
No, that is not what I said. If
there's
you're going
no,
to have this, if you're going to have the vax part of that, I get that. If you're vaxxed, okay, you want to throw that in there, okay, I understand the reasoning for that. What I'm saying is those who are not vaxxed, and you're the only other method for you not vaxxed to get in here is show the negative test within 3 days. Do you recognize what I've been saying? Is that what all stuff you can come in contact with when it comes to COVID in 3 days? Do you not recognize my point in that alone? Yes or no?
no, there is no point in that, because what you're saying is there is no viable range in order for someone to effectively say, okay, we've lessened the risk.
I'm not talking about lessening the risk. I get that. Yeah, it's lessened by having that 72 hours. But if you want to lessen even more, you can do 24 hours. Why not do that? Why 3 days?
Okay, how are you going to make that happen with, to your point, 100,000 people in 4 days?
Then you if you can't do that, then you ain't getting in. Too fucking bad.
It's not about just you can't do that. It's about having the personnel. And Jason, I don't know if you know this, but many institutions across our fine nation are having hiring problems.
Bro, go ahead in your spiel. Go ahead.
No, that's literally my point.
There is
Like,
no. What does that have to do with this? Any event this size, not just Lollapalooza, but what does this have to do with that?
you're insisting that there be an improved process, ignoring the fact that whatever process you're trying to propose needs more manpower than the one that they already have. And that's my point. And that's all I want to say on it.
So you're saying because I'm suggesting more testing at the event to shorten the time frame between possible, you know, infections. Is that what you're saying? That'll take more manpower for that? Is that what you're talking about?
I said it needed to be viable. I said not to come up with a wish list.
Ain't no wish list. I'm just talking to have this event safely. Okay. Would you not agree that in regards to having the event safely is to minimize as much as possible the risks involved with this being a super spreader event? Do you agree? Yes or no?
I agree that Lollapalooza did more than any other live event in
That
the
that's
last, in the last 6 or 7 months that we've actually been having live events.
so essentially that's a no. So okay. So
Take from it what you will, but
because you pretty much dodged my question completely.
at this point, I'm not even remotely interested in the question because it's a false equivalency discussion.
How how what?
Because you're already operating in poor faith about the event anyway.
Actually, I'm
Well,
not. I mean, the event already happened. So
no, no, Jason, name me another organization that had the status of that many people within that many days in a row.
well, first off, I probably wouldn't be able to name any because there's not that many that had that many people over the course of 4 days.
Right. So you're complaining about the processes of this setup, ignoring that you don't have a better one, which is what I already landed on.
Because you're trying to compare, okay, so there's another event of this size and magnitude around, because it probably isn't. Because you, okay, you tell me, are there any other events that have 400,000 people over the course of 4 days? Probably
Yeah,
might have been the Olympics, close, but guess what? They decided not to have any fans. Because
yeah.
they were smart.
Well, again, they also didn't have stipulations saying that if you showed up, you needed to show that you had proof of vaccination,
But they
or
could have done that, but they chose not to do that.
could have.
But they didn't because you know why? Because they realized it wasn't needed to have fans in the stadium because it's not that big a deal. It will still happen. It will still commence. They weren't worried about the money. Well, they were, but they realized they didn't need that money.
I cannot believe that you are trying to allege that the Olympics wasn't about the money.
Because
Tokyo,
if it was, they would have had fans in the building, right? But they
Tokyo,
didn't because they actually cared about the safety a little bit. Did they not? Yes. Go ahead.
Jason, if you don't have an alternative, if you don't have a better mousetrap, then maybe you should sit down, have your sip of your vegan beer, and shut up.
First of all, I already told you about the vegan beer crap. Okay, don't even start with that. That had nothing to do with nothing. Don't bring that up anymore. Unless it's pertinent to the topic, don't bring that up anymore. Got me? Second of all, it's not about alternatives. And two, how many did I just tell you? I literally just told you several, but you ignored all of them. Right? How
Because
many?
you have a viable alternative.
I just told you several.
You don't have any.
I just told you several. Just because you don't agree with them, and you have, for whatever reason, you're all about having Lollapalooza and it being okay. I don't know why you're just ignoring everything I said.
It
So,
doesn't.
so don't tell me I don't have any options, viable options, because I do. Just say you don't agree with them and move on.
No, none of those are viable. You're telling. You're telling me that you can do better. I'm telling you, unless you come up with the plan tonight, you can't.
Dude, it's not about me doing better. I'm not running Lollapalooza because I don't want to run that stuff because
Right.
it shouldn't be happening anyway with that many people there who aren't vaccinated.
So if all 100,000 people at Lollapalooza were vaccinated, would you be losing your shit the way you are right now?
Excuse me, it was 400,000, number one.
No, 100,000 in a day. We can agree it's 400,000 people. If you had, and let's just pretend that it was 400,000 unique people a day, and the combined is 400,000 unique individuals, fans, and they were all vaccinated. Would you be losing your shit the way you are right now?
It might be directed at different entity, but probably not as much. Right now, I think the organizers are stupid. I think the city of Chicago is stupid for this. Makes us look bad, number one. If they decided to have this with all vaccinated people, I wouldn't be as mad about it. I'd probably just more claim the people going there is stupid, but you know what? That's their choice. You want to be stupid? Feel free. Be stupid on your own. Hey, just don't come near me. That's all right.
Well, you feel free to come to us with your feedback on this particular subject segment at calparkbros@gmail.com, and you let us know. Do you think that the organizers of Lollapalooza were in the wrong for going forward with this event? We obviously have a difference of opinion here, and it's not going to be reconciled tonight, I can tell you that much. So, folks, let us know what you think. I'm happy that live events are happening. Some people are going to be okay with that, and some people aren't. Coming up next, we're going to wrap up the show and give some final thoughts.